Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to make Swiss roll. And the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to line the tin. So I've greased my tin and I've also got my greaseproof paper. Please make sure that your greaseproof paper is slightly bigger than your tin so that it hangs over the edges. You're then going to simply push it down, find the edges and the corners. And then we do not want the corners to interfere with our Swiss roll. So we're going to take a pair of scissors and you're going to make a little cut right in the corner. Yeah, like that. So that you can ease the paper into the corner. Right, so can you see that that has eased that little corner? Right, if you want to, you can cut that piece off, but it's not strictly necessary. So I'm going to do that with all four, and then I'll be back to show you. Right, so I've done that now, and you can see that my corners are nice and straight and even. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of butter on the paper, just so that it sticks into the corner really well. So can you see how lovely that corner now forms? It is completely against the tin and it's not going to catch on your cake mixture. Do that with all four corners. Right, now you can see I've done that, and I just wanted to show you, I have actually trimmed the excess paper off here just so that my corners can be neat, and it's just easier, guys. So just trim your corners and make sure that your paper is right into the center of the tin, into the corners of the tin. You're then going to take some more margarine or oil or whatever we have in the classroom, and you're going to make sure that that is nicely greased, and that's your tin done. Always do that first, guys. Swiss roll, we have to work really fast, so you have to be prepared. Right, now guys, because Swiss roll doesn't contain any butter, it is a very light cake, but really it is only best on the day. It doesn't last very long. So if you're going to make it and serve it. Don't keep it for another day, especially when you've got the filling in, because the filling will make the cake soggy. This is not like a store-bought Swiss roll, guys, where you have preservatives and things in it, and they make it in a different way to make the cake last longer. So I have 3 eggs in this bowl, and I've got my sugar, and I'm going to add my sugar to my eggs. Now, traditionally, you don't use a raising agent in Swiss roll at all. However, to be on the safe side, we always use self-raising flour in the classroom, just because it is safer that way, just in case you get this part wrong. But what we are going to do is we're now going to mix it. I'm not going to talk while I'm doing it because it's going to make a noise. And I've got an electric mixer. You can use a hand whisk, but it will take you a while. Okay, so I'm going to stop it at various stages, and your main concern here is to add air into the mixture. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Right, now guys, as with meringue, you are getting air into the mixture by forming bubbles, and that is you denaturing the protein strands. And remember, some protein strands are hydrophilic, water loving, and some are hydrophobic, water hating, and they will form a little structure around the bubble, but it is not as strong as in a lemon meringue, not a lemon meringue, a meringue of just with egg whites, because you've got fat inside the yolks. All right, now you can see that this is already changed. We've got a nice foamy layer, but we've still got very dark egg yolk on the bottom, and we don't want that. We want this whole mixture to become lighter. Again, always, I'd say it every time, when we add air into a mixture, it will go lighter. So I'm going to carry on. right? So again, can you see that we're getting lighter, but the mixture is also getting thicker, and that's going to continue to happen until we get to the point where we want to be. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's not ready. Okay, so when you lift it up and you make a little trail in your mix, you see this disappears instantly. All right, that's not, we're not ready yet. We're going to carry on. Sorry, a little bit delayed there. I forgot to switch my oven on. So I've got my oven on now. And you can see again, and what I didn't mention in the last step is, guys, can you see the volume? Can you see how much air we're getting into that mixture? And that is the whole point of this. We have to get air into the mixture to make this light and fluffy. We don't have fat in the mixture. We are just relying on the egg to moisten the cake. So we want to make sure, and to hold the structure of the bubbles. As well as the flour, but the egg is the most important part of this recipe. Now, when I move it about, you can see already how much thicker this is getting. If I drop it like I did before, can you see that the trail is not disappearing quite as fast as it did before? But we're still not there yet. Right, now a lot of the larger bubbles are disappearing, and again our mixture is much lighter. Each stage it will get a little bit lighter until it reaches its saturation point. It won't change color anymore, but the thickness of the mixture will. So now when you're lifting it up, we're almost there. Okay, when we leave a little trail, it's taking longer for it to sink into the mixture. Almost there. Right, so now when you lift the mixture, it stays on the surface for a second before you actually see it disappear. Right, now I wanted to mention to you, oh, I've forgotten what I wanted to mention. I'm going to carry on just for a little bit more. Right, so now you can see that the one thing I wanted to mention to you earlier is that I want you to use metal bowls, please. The plastic bowls, although they will work, they won't work as nicely as a metal bowl. Always with eggs, I just like to use a metal bowl or a glass one, but a metal bowl works really well. And then can you see how much air we have got into that mixture and how much it's thickened, guys? Okay, so we're there now. And what we are going to do now is we're going to get rid of the electric mixer. I'm just going to do to get rid of anything on my beaters. Right, and now comes the delicate process, guys. And you will, as you know, you will very rarely see me using a sieve in any kind of cake making, but this one it is important in, because you've just worked so hard to get all that air into the mixture. You don't want to deflate it now. So you are going to sieve the flour in. And gently move it around so that the flour is evenly distributed. Don't try not to put the flour all in one spot. All right. And then you are going to take your metal spoon. Can you see how much the flour is already making it sink? You're going to take a metal spoon, best for folding in, and you're going to do a figure of 8 motion. Right, can you see how gentle I'm being? All right, and you're going to go under and over and flip it. Right, are you sort of cutting the mixture? And wherever you see little bits of flour, take your spoon out every now and then, because you will have some flour stuck on your spoon. And just keep going gently. Cutting, making little cuts right throughout, lifting the mixture over. Right, and you'll see every now and then you'll get like a little bubble of flour that's going to appear. All right, make sure you scrape all the way down the middle. And we're almost there. Okay, we don't want to overmix this either. If you find any little big lumps or bigger little lumps, just squish those. Right, not going to mix that anymore. All right, we've lost enough air now. And then you're going to, this is where you have to work quickly, guys, especially with a Swiss roll. So I've got my tray and I'm going to pour my mixture in from the one side. Evenly, or as evenly as you can. Now again, and you'll be able to feel the texture of that mixture. It's spongy, guys, because you've got all that air into the mixture. Now, you know me in bowls, I do not like to leave mixture behind, because your final cake will be thinner. All right, you won't have as much mixture, and why waste it? It's just going to go down the sink, and I would much rather it go into the cake than go down the sink. That's one of the things I don't like when I watch TV chefs, when they leave their bowls, or they leave half the mixture behind in their bowls. It drives me insane. I know that they have got limited time, but still drives me nuts. Okay, so in there, metal spoon. All right, and then you gently, very gently, guys, do not push and shove. All right, you're just going to drag it. All right, and make sure that it is in all the edges and the corners of the tin. And then just by eye, just see where you've got more mixture and less mixture, because you want it relatively even. So I've got more on that side, so I'm just going to bring it over to this side, and you'll be able to feel the texture of this, guys. Right, now meringue does not, Swiss roll doesn't cook in the oven for very long. Right, it's not a cake that takes a long time to bake, so it's not going to be in there for 20-25 minutes. All right, don't waste any. All right, and then that is going to go straight into the oven. What you can do now, just to get the larger air bubbles to pop, otherwise that will affect the crust of your meringue. So you're going to see, can you see how they all popped? All right, and then another one, and maybe a third one, and that's it. Okay, and that's going to go into the oven now for about 10 minutes. Right, now while that's in the oven, you're going to get another piece of greaseproof paper ready, and to prevent it from rolling up, okay, you are going to fold it in half, right, like that, and then from corner to corner, so it prevents it from getting, it gets rid of this curl. Oops. And when it just comes off the roll, it literally will just curl up. And you don't want that, especially when you've got your Swiss roll out of the oven. Okay, so nice flat piece of paper. And now you're going to take your 2 tablespoons of caster sugar. It's about 2 tablespoons of caster sugar, and you're going to liberally sprinkle it all over the paper. This is going to help it not stick to the paper, guys. All right, so you're going to keep going, and that is going to be ready for when your Swiss roll comes out of the oven. And you'll lose some of the sugar because it won't all stick. All right, make sure that you've got some on the edges, right to the edges. All right, like that. And then we just got to wait for it to come out of the oven. Right, so guys, that's come out of the oven now, and it's still really hot. And you just touch it, and if it's just like a little spongy texture, it's done. And obviously you'll be able to smell it as well. Now, one of my sort of pet hates is sticking things into cakes, as you know. I don't stick things into cakes at all. But now the biggest thing is to get this paper off without ruining your Swiss roll. So, and you'll see that when it's ready, you'll know it, because it will come, most of it will come loose from the edges. But now we have to work quickly. So I've let it cool down for about a minute, okay? And now I'm going to get 2 small cloths. You can use dishcloths, dry ones, or a tea towel. I just find it's easier than trying to use the bulky oven doves. Right, so now you're going to take it, and you're sort of going to put your cloth and then your fingers, your cloth, can you see that? Yep, and then your fingers over the, under the edges, right? And then we're going to move it. Hold your fingers like this to support the cake, and then you're going to flip it like this over onto, hang on, let me just move my camera so you can see that better. And then you're going to move it over onto your paper and just drop it down. Move it if you need to, right, so that you're on the center. Right, let me see if I can get my camera in the right position. There we go. All right, and then using your cloths again. All right, because remember, it's really hot. Drape them over your fingers, and then just lift the tin. All right, and that can go in the washi. Now you won't need your cloths anymore. Make sure that your paper is not stuck under your cake, and that it's all free on the sides. Now you are gently going to peel it back. All right, and remember, this must be the underside of the cake, okay? This is going to be your presentation side of your cake, the top side, so you don't want to use that. Make sure your paper's straight when you're pulling it off. All right, it's sticking a bit, the first layer. All right, and then get rid of that. Right, now while it's still warm, you're going to turn it. You're going to keep your paper, but you're going to use the other side, all right, not the side with the cake on it, the other side. And you're just going to take it. Oh, sorry, missed a step. You are going to take off the crusty edges, very, very, just the last little bit, okay, because that makes it difficult to roll. Right, and those little are little tasters, yeah. And you're going to go all the way around, because the cake that's been touching the tin is crusty. All right, it gets harder than the rest of the cake, and it makes it more difficult to roll. So just going to take those edges off. You can do this with any knife. All right, and the last one. Be careful when you're doing this because you don't want to break your corners off or your... Alright, and then you can make just a little sort of a slidey cut, not all the way through, in your cake here. Do that again. Right, and then I want you to pull up and you're going to fold it. Right, you can actually just use the one. Oops, just going to recenter that one. No, I knew there was a reason, sorry. It's been a while since I've done this one. All right. And you're going to sort of push and roll at the same time. Right, can you see that? And I'm sort of just gently easing it as I'm going. Now this step is literally just to give your Swiss roll shape, and when it's cold, if you do this when it's cold, your Swiss roll has a tendency to crack. Right, unfortunately I can see a few cracks through the paper already. Right, and you're going to go all the way to the end so that the last edge is right at the bottom, and you're just going to hold it for a second. Right, and then you're going to unroll. This is a messy job, guys. Right, unroll it. There we go. And that will just give it a little bit of give when you do your final rolling of your Swiss roll. Now I'm going to leave it to just get cool on the edge here, and I'm going to get my filling ready. Right guys, so what I've done here is I've just taken my jam and I've mixed it up a bit so that it's not so clumpy. And I'm going to put a little bit of jam. Alright, and then it's just like making a sandwich. And you're going to, or a pizza, remember? I like using the back of a spoon for, and make sure that you get all the way to the edges, because you want your edges to have strawberry jam as well. Right, you want a thin layer, you don't want a huge layer. Right, but make sure that you're getting it all the way to the edges. Right, and then into the middle, because this is going to form the middle roll. Right, there we go. And now you're going to turn it again. And now you must be careful not to get your paper stuck. So you want a nice tight roll. Right, so you're going to push it over with the paper. Right, and then you're going to pull the paper. It's a fiddly job, guys. And then you're going to hold the paper up here, and you're going to pull and push at the same time. If you need two people, so if you need a friend to help you, then get somebody to just give you a hand until you get to about here. Right, and then you're going to go over, right, just until, oh, gone a bit skewered, right, just until the edge of your cake is underneath. Okay, you want it underneath your Swiss roll. Right, and then you're going to hold it there. Right, and you can keep the paper underneath it for a while. Now I'm going to over it for a while. So now I'm just going to clean my surface. Right, and then I'm going to take that. Oh, I didn't roll tight enough on this side, and I rolled very tightly on that side. Let's even it out a little. Right, and then you want your edges to be really nice and precise. So a little sawing motion, guys, and can you see I'm holding it here with my fingers like this. Right, and I'm just going to even out the edge. Look how pretty that looks. All right, and that's of course your taster. Right, and even out the side. And I'm going to, I think I might have cut it a little bit skew when I was cutting it. I was going to trim that edge off. Right, and then I'm going to get ready to serve it for you. So I'll be back. Right, so now what I've got is I've got a little bit of icing sugar. Right, oh sorry, that's my oven. And I'm just going to sprinkle some icing sugar over the top. You can use some more caster sugar, you don't have to use icing sugar. Alright, there we go. Doesn't that look pretty? And then obviously when you serve it, you can cut it. Alright, I'm just going to lift that up for you to show you. Really nice. If you can get a tighter roll than that, that would even look even prettier. Alright, I look forward to seeing yours. I know we have made this before, guys, but this is going to be good practice for you because you can use this technique for other cakes. Have fun and let me know how you go.